that I want to mention at the beginning.
Yeah.
I am recording the conversation as well, just because I don't want anything to be misrepresented on either my part or your part, and I want to make sure that we kind of understand each other.
Sure.
And there's a couple of other things I want to sort of start as a sort of preamble. I understand. Sorry, I think there's a power failure here. Just a second.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't, and certainly isn't, an issue where we're trying to quell your free speech. So I want to establish that right off the get-go here with you. This is nothing to do with quelling that, I would never infringe on those rights. Having said that, the reason why the officers, and I would have actually personally come down and spoke with you, but unfortunately you're in a different city than me, and we often utilize other officers to do that.
Mm-hmm.
In jurisdictions, but what I was investigating was something criminal. This has nothing to do with infringement of your free speech. So I just really want to get that out there, and that this was a completely separate investigation. It was not involving free speech or infringement of your rights in that respect. So.
Okay, that just wasn't evident to me from what those officers said. So
you're right, and I think the other housekeeping kind of thing I want to, and it's been okay so far, but I understand things were pretty heated with the other officers and things had escalated, but I just want to establish that this conversation works better when we both share our thoughts and don't interrupt each other as well. And not saying that you are now, I'm just saying for as we kind of move forward. And I expect you that if I become in a position where I'm making you feel comfortable and you want to lead the conversation, you can, and vice versa, I will as well. So.
Sure. Okay. So, at this point, you're just presently investigating. I'd like to just be very clearly advised of my rights and whether I should retain counsel.
No, and that's the thing. I'm not trying to elicit any information from you. You don't. I mean, you certainly can go speak to a lawyer. I'm just advised. I'm not trying to elicit any information. This is more of an information for you as to the two officers that were requested by myself to attend, or the one anyway who ended up coming with another officer. Was just to advise you that we received some complaints and we were investigating them, but we just wanted to stress to you that, yeah, there is a criminal investigation, but we've opted to take the position that we, right now, that we'd like to warn you to say, do not continue to conduct yourself in a way that is harassing to somebody and some person. It's not sort of identifying it, and this is the gray area that I think that we all kind of function in regards to this investigation. That we're not here to infringe your free speech and your right to do so. But when the investigation itself delves into personal attacks, and someone feels harassed, that's what we're investigating. It's not a sort of a blanket statement saying that you can't go out there and challenge people for things or whatnot. It's about specific attacks on someone's credibility, their.
Can you be specific?
Well, therein lies the issue, Joanna. I know that you have a substantial amount of followers in on your social media. I know you're quite vocal on your social media. I think because there's no criminal charges coming down at this point, it was more of an information for you saying, hey, these people are feeling uncomfortable. It's unwanted, and we just wish that you would stop. And I know it's a kind of a gray statement, I guess you can call it. It's kind of a loose statement, but it's we know that comments have been made regards to following up and sort of doxing these people, and there's an obligation for us to sort of protect.
I have never doxed someone insofar as I've identified any contact information. All I have done is follow individuals who use their public platforms to express hateful content. And as a person, now you might disagree, but I will give you an example. Okay, there's a woman, her name is Janice Laforme. She posts content that is objectively and would be described under Ontario human rights law as racist. She is very highly positioned within the legal community. So she is using her platforms to whip up hate. And I feel it is my responsibility when I see that to screenshot it, replatform what they are publicly posting, and say to individuals, this person is the same person that went after the TMU students and tried to get them disbarred or like prevented from becoming lawyers. I think what you fail to appreciate, sir, and I do, and I wanted to speak to you in a calm manner, but these individuals are very aggressively advancing a political agenda of anti-Palestinian racism, Islamophobia, anti-Arab hate, and they are preventing people like me from publicly criticizing their public statements by weaponizing your office. The people who are making the complaints are the ones you should be investigating for hate speech, not me, the person who's calling them out for using their platforms in a way that could incite violence.
And just so you know that I'm not viewing this investigation from a political perspective. I'm viewing it from a pragmatic criminal harassment perspective.
But sir, let's talk about the elements that need to be satisfied for criminal harassment.
Well, that's also subjective. It's not. And I know where you're going with this. But
well, because sir, I'm going to have these individuals investigated for abuse of the Law Society's office, for putting themselves forward as some kind of pseudo regulator to confuse the police and to intimidate me. Sir, when somebody posts something that is racist, basically where they say the terrorist attacks in Lebanon were justifiable, and actually they celebrate it. They post things that are celebratory of the violence. Okay, that's racist incitement. How does that make a Lebanese Canadian person feel?
I can appreciate it, John, but this is the way. This is from our perspective. The investigation.
I know, sir. I need to know exactly who these individuals are, and if contact with me is unwanted, they can block me, or they can tell me it's unwanted. So this caution to me is the same caution.
John, we're delving into that. I started the conversation by having that mutual respect and not having to interrupt one another.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm sorry.
Okay. So, if I may, thank you. The investigation was not about what you're mentioning about someone posting something hateful and then you calling them out for that in sort of your vernacular. It's sort of addressing that issue that they brought up politically. It's about comments and sort of reposting of messages that were so there were reposting of messages that were mentioning certain individuals that they had not posted and was not sort of saying, because listen, I'm a very smart man. I understand the law very, very well, and I understand the limitations of that. And this isn't simply by someone posting, and I'm speaking right now in generalities. This isn't somebody who's posted something like you said about, sorry, it was Janice, sorry, Laforme.
Yeah, I think you should probably launch an investigation into her because she's been harassing law students and trying to get them from like becoming lawyers or employable.
This isn't something where somebody has posted something hateful and then you have sort of called them out for that. This is something where
you need to be more specific, sir.
Yeah, so this would be a situation where you have, and speaking once in generalities, that you were posting, they would post something, then you would sort of, and like I said, your vernacular, call them out for posting that, and then weeks later, or days later, or months later, even to the several months later, there would be a continued posting of that previous comment that was like, and they had made no other further comments or no other posting or no other likes and whatnot. And so that was
what?
That was right.
It was an old post of theirs that I posted again. So this would be Betsy Kane, and that she posted that Palestinians destroy queer people, and that gay people are to Palestinians as cows are to McDonald's. And so I reposted that the day after Benjamin Netanyahu made the same statement publicly, but said that gay people are to Palestinians as chickens are to KFC. And I made the example that Betsy Kane had earlier posted that. I called her out. I found it personally offensive because I have members of my family who are Palestinian, and I'm a queer person myself. So I found it personally hateful. She never apologized. She never told me to not repost it again. And sir, you may not be aware, but this woman is VP of Government Relations for a professional body. That means that she consults directly with Mark Miller, the immigration minister. So yes, sir, I will call her out until she apologizes to me for a personally offensive and hateful comment, not just to me, but to many people, a bigoted comment. But I have no reason to not recycle that old post, given that she's never given me any indication that she's backed down from that position. In fact,
You mentioned who, sir? What's the name?
Betsy Kane.
So, but once again, I mean, you're talking about someone who has posted something that liked or commented on some sort of photo.
Sir, have you gone through Betsy Kane's Twitter? She's called for your office to arrest protesters. This woman is unhinged. Okay. And she's very, very highly positioned within the bar. She has been consistently threatening and harassing me for 10 months. She is being investigated by the Law Society of Ontario for the abuse of her office as a lawyer.
This Betsy Kane is?
Yes, she is. That was confirmed to me by the person who leveled the complaint against her for chronically posting racist and anti-Palestinian content. Now, if this woman had said to me, Joanna, stop talking to me, leave me alone, I'm sorry my comment offended you, I would leave her alone. But this woman has consistently and persistently harassed racialized members of our legal community by alienating them with her very strong rhetoric. Okay, so not only that, like, sir, I'm going to request a full report because I intend to have her and her team deposed for criminal harassment against me. They have doxed my medical records, in fact, and my mental health records from a hospitalization. They have been harassing me for 10 months. And so this investigation of yours, sir, is an extension of that. So when I say I can guess who this person might be, I'm almost certain it's Betsy Kane. And all I did was take her old post, one of many, many posts that are despicable and racist. And if you don't believe me, I can give you 25 people who would be willing to attest to the same. She's considered one of the most racist lawyers in the immigration bar right now. And yes, I will criticize her because she consults with the immigration minister on policy, and that is extremely dangerous and concerning to me.
Okay, Joanna, if I may, I appreciate what you're telling me, but once again, we're not here to we're here to address the ongoing reposting of messages and
what has she taken that one down?
Well, listen, I'm not going to identify who the complainant is because I think that
sir, I'm not going to suppress. You need to have those people reach out to me and tell me specifically, and I'll leave them alone. But I'm not going to have some vague and unidentified group that has been chronically harassing me and my community.
Joanna, I'm not going to get politically. I'm not going to get involved in a political sort of.
You investigating me? You've already done that.
No, Joanna, I'm not going to get into a political discussion with you about what's right or wrong about the conflict in that region right now. What I'm here to tell you, and this is how I've approached this investigation, was that there was allegations of harassment, and that's what I'm dealing with. And so, when it comes to,
I won't. You're going to have to tell me against whom and what's the harassing conduct, and tell me how it meets the elements of concern, and I will make sure, sir, that I abide. But if you're going to have these people undisclosed, how can I? That's an overreach of your jurisdiction, sir, and it is an impingement on my civil liberties.
Well, no one's telling you that you can't post your political.
Are you telling me I can't repost old posts? Journalists do it all of the time.
So what I'm saying to you is that
a journalist just reposted something that Pierre Poilievre said in 2008. This is called accountability and leadership. Okay.
Joanna, if you just please stop interrupting me. You've asked me some questions, and I'd like to answer them for you.
Okay.
The posting and reposting of these messages are, and not reposting of these messages, or calling out people who have posted in the past and no longer post anymore, and now there's the continuously unwanted messages. They're feeling harassed, and when I talked about the sort of the subjective viewpoints of harassment, it's not. I don't use the term black and white, but it's not like that. It's not that. It's not as clear as that. It's as someone feels as if that the posts are targeting them specifically, and it's unwanted. And this is no different than you having a dispute with your neighbor, and you don't want to speak with them, and you have the police go and say, "Listen, my neighbor is having issues with you. She doesn't want you to." In your case,
well, then you're identifying the individual. I'm not going to have you give me some general warning without the individual identified.
Well, because of the comments that I think are being made in the
sir, this is not. I respectfully, but this very strongly reject this as a sufficient warning with sufficient specificity for me to. How can I possibly abide that when I feel that there are power holders? It's the same thing that happened at U Ottawa, sir, after the terrorist attacks in Lebanon, and the special report, the rapporteur on anti-Semitism posted some vile content, and it was screenshotted. It was sent to the administration, and he resigned because of its racism. If a woman or a person or any person proposes to be a senior member of professional organizations and to undertake consultative roles in government and then to post vile, racist content and not to retract or apologize for it, then it's fair game. I'm sorry, it's journalism, sir. They can say to me specifically, listen, I regret that post. Can you just not bring it up again? I'll leave them alone. But if you're going to leave it to be a big question mark as to who this is, because I will not back down. There are these individuals in our community that are like the Gaza program, for example, which is deemed to be a tremendous failure, a spectacular failure. Why? Because people who are Zionists consulted with the Minister of Immigration and created one of the most racist immigration programs we have ever seen in our country. And because of that, there are people dying overseas when they could be here safely with their family members. So this is not...
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So if I posted something online about your physical appearance, would you be happy about that?
But that would be an ad hominem attack, okay?
That would be an attack on you, right?
It would be an attack on my person, not an attack, not... Now, if you posted something...
Brandon, let me do a follow-up question.
Sure.
Would that comment make you feel uncomfortable?
So have I made any personal... I've attacked people's positions. Have I made any attacks against these persons as I don't know, like women or what their bodies are like? Now, if I held a position of power and I said something awful and racist and I never retracted that position, and then I went on to hold important positions of power in the legal profession and to consult with government, yes, I would expect that vile opinion to follow me until I publicly disavow it, because this is exactly what journalists do, okay? The only difference is that I'm both undertaking journalistic work, public advocacy, and I'm a lawyer, okay? Like, I'm not one thing. I consider this to...
You're drawing the conclusion, you're drawing the nexus between the fact that someone who posts has diametrically opposed political views.
No, if they post something politically...
Joanna, if I may please, that they should be subject to physical publicly shaming.
Not physical public shaming, but if I say to you, sir, like imagine, okay, I'm going to give you an example that might translate a little more closer to home, for example.
Yeah, but the final question, would you find, you stated you wouldn't want that, but would you find that, deem that to be sort of level of harassment?
No, I wouldn't. I would expect to be held. So if I said something vile, like I said something really racist, okay,
yeah,
and it offended people. So let's say I said something terrible about Indigenous people. They're all lazy and they're taking advantage of social welfare, and residential schools never happened. Okay, some people are saying that right now in public. Okay, now if I said that and there were repercussions for that, people screenshotted the image, which is what they do for celebrities, by the way, and politicians and every other human being on the planet, okay? That follows you. There's a legacy to that. Now, if I post a vile opinion and I don't retract that position, and in fact, I continue to work in advancing that vile position, and I hold positions of power, and I consult with the government, yeah, I expect that statement to follow me into the future. Because
if no one had any of that going on, would you feel, the average person, would that average person feel like they were being harassed and targeted by an unwanted...
No, it would be having me facing the consequences of a vile opinion that I have failed to distance myself from.
No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about a standalone comment of someone making fun of someone else's appearance. Would that person feel that they were being targeted and harassed?
Okay, that's a different matter, though.
No.
Have I made any personal attacks against someone's appearance or their faith? I've only...
So that's the question that I'm asking. Do you think that the average person would feel that that would be a personal attack against them, and that would be a form of harassment and a level of harassment to them? Would the average person feel that?
Well, ask a celebrity. A celebrity...
No, I'm not talking about a celebrity, John.
I would think any average person who expresses a vile opinion and then doesn't.
That's not what I'm saying to you. I'm saying to you, would the average person feel that this was a level of harassment or because it's an unwanted comment, an unsolicited comment? Would that person feel, if I posted that of them, would they feel that? The answer is yes. That person would feel that, because once again, it falls into the subjectivity of that person.
But sir, I only criticize people who hold positions of power and advance vile political opinions. Okay, I don't go after someone based on how they look, or like where they live, or how much money they make. Okay. But what I do is if they say something vile and they continue to advance that work, I keep a screenshot history of the awful racist things that people say, because people need to know who government is consulting with. Okay? You understand that white supremacy is on the rise. Okay? Take these same statements and transfer them to a white supremacist point of view. Like, okay, if someone says, that European settlers have an absolute right to Canada and to colonizing it, and there's no such things as really indigenous people in Canada. Yeah, that person could say that opinion, and I would call that a horribly racist opinion, right? If they put that on a public platform, that is screenshotable, and that will follow you, unless you publicly distance yourself from that vile opinion, okay? Otherwise, like if you put that out in the universe, because that's harmful.
Would it be safe to say that you've taken upon yourself to police the internet because of this?
No, what I am doing is expressing to individuals, like I'll give you an example. People don't know that, like, for example, that, let's say Janice Laforme, who thinks that the terrorist attacks against Lebanese people was justifiable as an act of, retaliation against Hezbollah, and never mind all the collateral damage. Like that, she also has held positions in senior capacity at the Law Society of Ontario in governance. Okay? So
these people need to be publicly shamed for making comments that disagree.
No, it's about educating the public about who the government is consulting or who is governing them, okay? So if these people propose to hold senior positions that are policy leading, okay, these people are professors. These people are, imagine here's the example I would give you, is that if I was a white supremacist and I said white supremacist things, and then, I ran for politics 10 years later, I would expect those white supremacist posts to pop up, okay, down the road, because that shows the people who it is that they are elevating to positions of power and decision-making authority. So it is not a personal attack. It is educational to the public so that they can Go ahead.
If I may. So these people need to report back to you and identify and apologize for posting these messages, and
they can disagree with me. They can say stop. Okay. They can block me. They can apologize for what they say. But this is the beauty of public discourse. This is what free speech is all about.
The expectation that they need to apologize to you.
No, not to me. To the people who are the targets of their horrible statements. Okay. And if they don't, then but they continue again. These individuals, they're not just any old person. They have jobs that are funded by the public purse. They teach students who identify as Muslim Canadian, right? They have articling students who have no idea. Sir, I've spoken to some of these people from Ottawa, and I could guess who these are on the list because they are notoriously racist among my community. And if you doubt that, I can give you, again, 25 phone numbers of people who have been horrified and alienated by these people, and no one's speaking up. So if they the
If I may, Joanna.
sure.
So I'm going to inform you of the crux of the investigation.
Sure.
And the reason why I'm speaking to you today is because if this continues, you could potentially face criminal charges. I'm just making it quite clear that this is the reasoning as to why there's going to be nobody calling you and telling you to please stop posting stuff about them. It's good.
They're not going to block me. They're not going to.
They some of them have, but if I may, the reason why I'm speaking to you today is to reiterate what the officer told you just the other day, that these messages are unwanted. And I'm gonna clarify exactly who this is, but I just want to stress the point initially that before things get a bit more heated between you and I always want to stress to you that that these messages are unwanted. They're unsolicited and they're targeted right now. And in our opinion, but what we're informing you is right now is that if they are to continue, you could face potential charges. And I want to tell you who's doing it, or who's lodged this complaint against you. So
I would love the names.
Right. So, and I'm sure you're going to have much to say about this, but the complainant was Betsy Kane. And
of course it was Betsy Kane.
Yes, but Joanna, you understand that there was targeted, aside from the initial post that she had made and she liked. It wasn't even a post that she made. She liked a post. There was a continuous onslaught of messages being reposted and comments, and you've made comments about her physical appearance. And these
her physical appearance?
Yes, Joanna.
Oh wait, I said she looked like a Disney villain. She kind of, like. But it's only because she has been coming after me. You know that she's threatened me with lawsuits and made law society complaints against me. And I said, well, if I am to have an arch nemesis, I may as well have one that reminds me of a Disney villain because of the way she's smiling in one of her photos on her profile. But I can't think of any other personal things I've said about her.
Nobody's going to call you and tell you that they don't want you to. We are, and we're not the fist of that community. We're not the strong arm. We're not the voice. What we are is just informing you that if these posts continue, and this is the only issue that I'm dealing with right now, not about political based opinions.
What is the other? I'd love to know the whole group of 10, and I'd like to know what the organization they've represented themselves as.
No, that's not going to happen because.
Oh no, it's going to happen because I'm going to be calling for a law society inquiry into it.
No. If you let me finish, it's not going to happen because it's not
This group of 10, the Law Association of Ontario, putting itself forth as a regulatory body to intimidate me, using.
That's not what I'm investigating. This is not what
Sir, I need to know the name of this organization, and I need to know the other 9 individuals.
I just told you, Joanna, I'm just investigating the single complaint.
Single complaint? That's it? Just from Betsy?
Yes.
Oh, there's no other. What about the 10 other individuals?
What 10 other individuals?
Sir, you've seen the recording.
What 10 other individuals?
Niagara Regional Police came to my house. They said the complaint was lodged by the Law Association of Ontario. It's my turn to speak a little bit, just for a second, and then.
Joanna, I'm actually going to try and clarify that for you. It's actually there was a misrepresentation. I think that was the other part of the conversation I was to have with you. There was that was a misrepresentation. That we know that there were ongoing LSO complaints, I guess, in regards to the multiple individuals and yourself and whatnot. We know that this is taking place, and it was a misrepresentation, and that was not.
Well, no, if you know that and it's a part of your investigation, then I'm owed that disclosure, because I know I intend to have your office investigated and to pursue civil action against your office. And beyond that, I intend to pursue civil action against all the individuals who colluded in harassing me. So I'm asking you for a copy of the report, and I would like that as soon as possible.
I'm sorry?
I want a copy of the original complaint. I will do a freedom of information request if I need to, but because I'm the subject of the complaint, I'm owed it. So I will get that. And I would like to know what this group of 10 individuals represented themselves as. They will be part of my complaint to the Law Society of Ontario about organizations misrepresenting themselves to the police as these Trojan horse associations in order to harass and intimidate. So this is not the first time these people, and Betsy specifically has done this many times to people. There's a complaint against her at the Law Society.
Yeah, once again, Joanna, I just told you I'm investigating a singular complaint. Whether there's other people that
you should be investigating her.
Okay, so once again, I'm just, like I said, I want to sort of wrap up this conversation. But this is not political based. We're not trying to
it's absolutely political.
No, it's not. So
sir,
there's a complaint that was made, and that's what we're investigating. And
it's political. It's political.
If this continues, that there could be 10 potential charges down the road. Okay, so
listen, I won't post ever again about Betsy Kane, but her compatriots who are harassing me, because this is very much organized.
So sorry, can you repeat the last statement then? So you're not going to.
I will not say a word about Betsy Kane ever again online.
Okay.
I will not. But I intend to have full disclosure. I want to know who this other group of 10 individuals and how they represented themselves and how they advanced the complaint. I'm going to be ordering copies of everything because I intend to have your office investigated, and I intend to have Betsy investigated because I do think she's in contravention of her professional title as an officer of the court in conducting coordinated attacks against people she doesn't like, for pushing back against her extreme policy.
I'm here to have a conversation with you about it.
I will never.
Okay.
You will not see the word Betsy Kane ever again. But I've got a really great civil case now, so this is fantastic. Yeah, thanks. You should be investigating her.
We're talking about indirectly or directly. So there's no any posting or whatnot.
Well, what does indirectly mean? Please clarify. I'm sure the BC Civil Liberties Association will love to know what's an indirect version.
Right. So I'll give you an example. I'm speaking in generality. So if somebody's asked somebody not to communicate with them or whatnot.
She hasn't.
Someone has turned around and sent a message.
She hasn't.
Person. And
she hasn't sent me anything, and she's only doubled down on her post, by the way. Other people are documenting her. I'm blocked.
At this point, Joanna? Do you have any questions at this point?
How can I get everything? All the paper, all your notes, all of the whole file.
Yeah, I think you're quite familiar with the process.
Well, because I'm the subject of it, I should be able to do an informal request. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. Well, if I can answer that question for you, it's to file a freedom of information request, and it'll go through our office, and you'll get the report, either unredacted or redacted, whatever form that they decide to take. But how do
I get your notes?
Well, it'll all be part of
okay. And so there's like a formal, I've already looked at the different kinds of requests. I was hoping you would call me first before I have to make it, so we can make this as easy as possible. But
it's a formal request with our office, and through a FOIP request, we have a FOIP office, and just call the main number, and you can or you can. I think you might be able to do it online. I'm not 100%
Yeah,
sure.
but the question is, there's two types of requests. There's a personal request for people who are subject to the complaint, and then there is a like the more advanced freedom of information request.
I don't know. You'll have to contact our office. I just don't have it. I don't have that information.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'd also so your investigative notes would be a part of it. I need to know though, sir, because you have to understand if an association of individuals is misrepresenting itself to the police as a possible regulatory body, that is not the Law Society, by the way, that could be criminal in and of itself.
They're conducting an LSO investigation against you? That's criminal?
The Law Society has already told me that they're going to be summarily dismissing. So, but for them to post as a group and call themselves an association, which is what the officer said to me walking into my house, is that my professional regulator made a criminal complaint against me. That was how the message started. So look at that from an intimidation and harassment perspective. Look at that from please, sir, can I finish? Look at that from a civil liberties perspective.
It's a bit of a misrepresentation. It wasn't.
Well, then I expect a public apology for that.
That's something that Niagara's going to have to
and your office, because you should have not deployed them if they were going to fuck this up so badly. Excuse my French, but because people are really upset.
Yeah. So just so you know, I would have come down personally, but unfortunately,
you could have called me. Instead, you sent 2 detectives to my door? That's wild. You know what the Gestapo used to do? Exactly that. It was called door-to-door intimidation. This was part of the first arrest of liberals.
To pursue this in any way you can, but once again, I'm glad that you've agreed to no longer posting directly or indirectly messages.
No, tell me what indirectly means.
All right, thank you so much for your time.
No, sir. No, I'm not done. No. You can't threaten me with criminal charges and not explain to me what indirect means. I have committed to you. I will not type Betsy Kane's name ever again. Yeah. I will not repost those old screenshots ever again. I can't promise other people won't, but that's not anything to do with me. Okay, people have been horrified by what this woman had, the vitriol of this woman she advocated for people who are part of the protest. Sir, let me finish. This woman advocated for immigrants to be deported for supporting Palestine. She advocated for that.
I'm not dealing with political discussions with you.
But no, I'm just saying to you, what does indirectly mean? If my friend who is on LinkedIn and associates with me happens to take a screenshot, is that indirect? If I mention, I don't know, she's a member of 100 different organizations. If I criticize B'nai B'rith Canada for its current definition of anti-Semitism as being any criticism of Israel is not permitted, is that indirect? I need clarity on that.
Joanna, I'd like to just explain to you, we're not going to restrict. This is not a conversation about restricting your civil liberties.
So what does indirect mean?
Well, as I said, as I was trying to explain to you in generalities, which you've already understood, that if you've asked.
She hasn't.
Okay, Joanna, please stop interrupting me. If you want me to answer the question, if not, I'm going to hang up, okay?
Okay, that's fair. I'm listening.
If once again someone's having a problem with somebody and they receive a message indirectly saying, hey, this person, I'm not, like I said, I'm just speaking generalities now. If somebody receives the message saying, hey, you're having problems with Bob Smith, this is the message to say, I'm warning you type of stuff. Those are indirect messages where they feel harassed and threatened.
Sorry, I don't know. What am I allowed to say and what am I not allowed to say?
Joanna, I mean, I can't go into the the unlimited amount of messages.
Well, that's the problem. Is you're saying directly or indirectly, but you're giving me no clarity in terms of what is unsayable and what is sayable. And that's where the civil liberties enter into it, sir. She consults with Mark Miller's office on immigration policy.
Again, I'm not going to get into the politics with you, but once again, thank you so much for your time.
Sir?
Document the conversation that we spoke, and
I will not mention her again, but if you're not going to give me any other guidance in terms of what indirect means, how can I not feel handcuffed right now in terms of what I can say or not say?
I've just been trying to explain to you repeatedly, it's that if somebody sends a message saying that, hey, you're having a problem with Bob Smith, and I'm here to tell you that I'm going to cause you problems type of stuff. It's not saying that those are the words. This is the generalities, and that's and I think you're quite well versed in the legal jargon. I think you understand what indirect and directly means.
No, sir, I don't, because this is this is Orwellian overstep as far as I'm concerned.
1984, Joanna. This is not 1984.
There are some very senior lawyers who are specialists in civil liberties who've spoken to me directly who would very much disagree with you, sir. So I would like some clear guidance in terms of what you mean in terms of indirect.
So like I said, messages that go to the person that are in referencing you. So all of a sudden they started receiving messages saying that, I don't know, like I heard you don't like someone on your lawn, I'm going to come over there and be on your lawn type of thing. So these are indirect messages.
I don't understand that.
Maybe you should seek legal counsel on that because it's...
No, you're the charging officer. I want you to know your perspective. So, what's an overstep? I'm not going to post anything about Betsy. I don't follow her, by the way. She blocked me. I don't have any shadow accounts. I've been very clear to not make them. Okay. I have not monitored her posts. That's why the only posts I have are the old ones. Is because the moment she blocked me, I left her alone. Okay. But when I see the rhetoric that she used a few months before that offended me because it targeted me as a queer person supporting Palestinians, so it was an offensive message to me directly, who has a Palestinian member of family. It was very offensive to me. So I reposted it again the day after Netanyahu used the same analogy in his speech.
Joanna, please, you've already spoke to this.
Right. So I will not do that ever again. But I don't follow her. I have not messaged her since then. I just said, hey, look at Bibi Netanyahu said the same thing Betsy did months back. What a coincidence.
If you need clarification on legal terms, then you can certainly consult your...
No, I need to know what you mean by indirect. Am I allowed to... Can I criticize her friends? Can I criticize her professional associations?
Please do not harass Betsy anymore. Okay? Thank you,
sir. Betsy is harassing me, and you are not investigating the correct person. I could file a report against her based on what she's done.
Regional police, and they'll start that investigation for you if they deem it necessary. Okay.
I want to hear from you if you are going to tell because if you refuse to give me guidance in terms of what indirect means, I told you I'm not gonna email her. I haven't emailed her. I mentioned her once in a recent post after Netanyahu's speech because he said the same thing that she was endorsing publicly. That's it. That's the only thing I did for her. Okay? That's the only thing. I haven't messaged her. I haven't emailed her. I do mention her sometimes because she is a very senior member of the bar who says very racist and terrible things on her platforms. But her name will not come out of my mouth ever again. But what beyond that is not permissible, I do not understand.
Joanna.
You know why you're struggling with this is because you know you've gone too far.
No, Joanna, I haven't. I haven't gone
too far.
Yes,
you have, sir. You have.
you have a pen and paper on you?
Yeah.
Okay, can you write down the case number, please? It's 24-73939.
I think I have it already. 23. Oh, wait, 24-23. Oh, there's another case. No, I've got 24-238864. Which one's that?
I don't know.
I bet you this is the group of 10 case. 238864. What's that one about? Can you tell me? That's what your office gave me as my original case number.
73939.
Okay, hold it. Let me get the new one. And then I would like to know about the old one. 24 dash.
73939.
73939. 24-73939. Okay. What is 24-238864? Because this is the one I was told about, the Law Association of Ontario involving 10 lawyers.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that's been closed.
But it was filed. How many cases have been filed against me?
So I don't know. The indirect, right? So having someone's contact Betsy indirectly is the in posting stuff about her indirectly through you. That's what indirect means.
Posting stuff about her indirectly through me. What does that mean?
I'm sorry?
If I have said I'm never going to say her name ever again in a post, okay, so what is wrong? What beyond that is unacceptable?
So you want me to go through the
give me a scenario where, and it's not about Lon or anything like that, like, what if Betsy feels threatened because I criticize something her professional organization does? Is that indirect?
Joanna, Betsy's requested she doesn't receive harassing messages.
She hasn't. She hasn't received a single message from me since I left when she posted that really offensive post through
and whatnot. So I'm telling you right now that if this continues, there will be charges, and that's the end of the conversation.
No, sir.
I'm not going to engage you any further into any political discussion. You've been given the case.
Can you please give me all the case numbers of complaints that have been opened and closed with respect to me?
I don't know. You can point this information, Joanna. I don't have access to everything. That's being investigated. I've been investigating this one, and
are there other people investigating me right now?
I don't know. I don't know, Joanna.
Well, it doesn't really make sense for different officers to be investigating the same person.
Joanna, I'm not going to be staying on the phone with you all night, so thank you so much for your time, and I'm glad that you agreed to not communicate with her, and I wish you... I
haven't communicated with her in 10 months.
Thank you. Have a better...
Hi. Hello? Can you hear me? So I know who it was. Hello? Can you hear me? Yes, hi. Sorry about that. I just heard from the... hold on.